Hey everybody, welcome, 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 welcome. I love watching all your comments. It's always so fun to see everybody chatting with each other and pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Lots of fun. So, okay, so Andrea, good to see that you did use the lip balm before it went in your purse. I said to Alan, I said, she got the lip balm, put it right in her purse. Should have gone on her lips. Oh, anyway. So, what are we going to do tonight? Goodness gracious. Oh, do you guys like my background? I thought it would be fun to do kind of a, I don't know, an old country kind of a background. One of my favorite movies of all time is, it's Funny Farm. Who's in it? Chevy Chase is in it. Absolutely love that movie. It's so cute. And one of my favorite things about it is the town that they're in and the characters in the town. And it reminds me of Norman Rockwell. And this background actually reminds me of Norman Rockwell. And I'm trying to figure out what backgrounds I'm going to be using because, what is it? We're in the very beginning of November. I'm doing some Christmas cards, and I don't want to be using winter Christmas backgrounds for the next 2 months. So I got to come up with something a little more creative. Anyway, everybody, welcome. I think it's Thursday, right? It's Thursday? Is it Thursday? Oh, he's even got he put it up in front of me so that I would know, so I would see it. And of course I didn't see it. It's literally right above the camera, so that's just, that's kind of funny. Oh, well, everybody, Jen, I am so sorry to read about your sister. I saw that. I hope that she, I hope she does better. I hope she recovers soon. So thank you for being with us. Hopefully we can make this a little relaxing and kind of lighten your evening a bit. So, all right, what are we going to work on today? Today we're actually, I'm not even going to be doing a whole lot of stamping or coloring really at all. I wanted to do something fun with paper packs. I thought it would be fun to see what I could do with paper and minimal of anything else. So that's kind of my challenge for today. Not that I'm not using stamps. I am going to do some stamps, but I'm not doing like a whole big scene and everything like I usually do. I just wanted to see what I could do with paper. So I'm going to switch the camera and we're going to get rolling. All righty, here we go. All right, let's see. This is my inspiration tonight. Those that know me well know that I love MacKenzie Childs. It's one of my favorite things. You know, if I have like a guilty pleasure, that would be it. I don't own a lot of the stuff because it's just a little bit pricey for me, but I do have a couple of pieces that I think are my favorites. And so when we were putting together our Christmas stuff, we came up with this beautiful, beautiful paper pack, and the colors in it actually reminded me of MacKenzie Childs. And so I decided to call it MacKenzie Christmas. This is going to be the inspiration for tonight. And this is going to be the paper we're going to be using. I also pulled in my 34th Street stamps. I didn't want to do a lot of coloring. Mine, this is of course very well loved. That's why it's got black ink all over it. But I thought I would pull these in. They're really easy to use, really fun to use. I love the houses. It reminds me of Miracle on 34th Street, which is where it gets its name. And so I thought I would play with these a bit. And one of the things I love about it too is it's very, very easy color, quick color, and it also, when you use the dies with the images, they become interactive because these dies are going to make it so that the little doors and windows open up on them. So, and of course on the back we always have a little map, you know, showing you which die goes with which stamp. So those are going to be used. So we're going to get started on the first project. This is really all that I'm using on the first one. So I'm going to take you step by step through it. I have laid this out. I planned it out because I didn't know what I was going to do, and it's really kind of out of my wheelhouse to do this kind of a project because I really, really do like doing scenes and stuff. So I wanted to do something that was going to be different than that. So I thought I'd challenge myself to do clean, simple, yet working with beautiful pattern papers that I love, and I really wanted to feature them. So I'm going to show you what I did. I've already got stuff cut, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you through it just to show you how I cut the papers and how I trim them and how I layer them. This is basically what I've got going on here. All right, so this is everything. Judy is saying, on Saturday, will there be special bundles? Also, any details on the new release? You guys like to put me on the spot.
Next question.
We don't, well, we have for, what time are we on? I think we're on at 9:30 Eastern time on Saturday. This is Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, if anybody is wondering what we're talking about. Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, and it's 9:30 Eastern. I'm sorry, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern. Special bundles. We do have a show special, and you're going to have to wait and see. Join us and see what we've got going on there. I don't want to give it all away. Okay, so I'm going to show you how. I'm going to take you through what I do when I'm, cutting my papers and what I'm doing, because, I do recognize that sometimes we have, people that are newer to crafting, newer to card making, and so I kind of want to go through that just a little bit. This is my Score Buddy. If you guys don't have one of these, you really got to get one. I have the really big Score Pal, which I almost never use because it's gargantuan, and you can fit, I had it for scrapbooking, and you can fit a 12 by 12, piece of scrapbook paper on it. But this Score Buddy is really, this is what I use. I have this all the time. I actually have a few of these, so that I have them near where I am all the time. And sometimes I get, what in the world? I've got little foam tape in there. Okay, so when I start with my card base, I take, I just start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. This is just very lightweight, and I cut it in half. So it started like this. Okay, here's my 8.5 by 11. I cut it in half at 5.5, and then from there, I'm going to score it at 4.25. So for those of you that are not familiar, we're kind of doing a little back to basics today. Scored at 4.25, and this gives you, the measurements are fantastic. That little star is already there for your 4.25 measurement. I'm going to give this an easy fold. Get this out of the way. Give this an easy fold, and then press it. And that's all there is to that. So this is my A2 card base now. All right, so that ends up being 4.25 by 5.5, and we're going to set that aside. Next up, where'd my paper go? Here it is. Next up, I like to grab my paper pack, and I was kind of hunting through this paper pack, trying to figure out which sheets I wanted to pull out of here. And when I show you this, if you haven't seen this paper pack yet, it is absolutely stunning. So in going through here, different things, different patterns will grab my eye on different days. And in going through this, for some reason today, it was this really, really big, gorgeous poinsettia that grabbed my eye today. And so I grabbed that, and I thought I could go in one of two directions. For me, it was really a choice between these two. This one is already cut. You can see I used it for something else, but it was really a choice between accenting with this beautiful peachy pink snowflake pattern, or accenting with this gorgeous, gorgeous cool green. And I could have gone either way. I think they're both absolutely stunning. There are others in here that would be just beautiful. We have, you can really pull just about any pattern paper out of this entire set, and they're going to work. I could have gone darker with that. Look how striking that is together. Just gorgeous. If I wanted to pull the trees in, I could do that. All the colors and the patterns work beautifully. If I wanted to pull 3 colors in together, this is something I could do. Same thing also if I wanted to pull 3 colors in, like this, and so on and so on. I could keep going because it's really easy to do. But for some reason, this pink just really, really caught my eye, and I thought that it would be stunning. What's funny is I never really liked pink all that much. I wasn't one of those, I don't know if you've caught on or not, but I'm not a real girly girl. I was not one of those girls who was, always in, dresses and nail polish and doing my hair and all that stuff. I was more of a tomboy. I'm kind of in between now. I'm not a tomboy like I used to hunt snakes and frogs and stuff. When I was a kid, I did.
Yeah,
I used to climb
yeah.
trees. I used to play kickball, all that stuff.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, Alan doesn't believe it because I'm terrified of bugs, and you would not catch me near a snake now. But when I was a kid, I used to do that. We had woods behind our house, and it was just wonderful. So anyway, pink was not in my whole realm of colors when I was growing up, but for some reason I gravitate to it now as an adult, and I love it. So these are the two pattern papers I decided to work with. So in layering these up, I started thinking, which one do I want to be prominent on my card? I could do it this way, but then, with the poinsettia in the background, but they really get lost that way. And so I really decided that I really wanted that poinsettia to be up in center. And so then I start layering. So the first step for me is to create some background. So Alan, can we zoom out a bit? Because this is really, I can't get the whole sheet on the screen here, just a little bit. Let's see if we can go the right direction. Yeah, good. Much better. I think that's much better. No, I think that's good. I got to get something off the screen though because it's in my way. There we go. Okay. What'd you say? Sorry. Okay, so I'm putting this in, the long way here, and I'm going to trim it at 5.5. So that's gonna cut it right down the center. And then if I give it another turn and cut at 4.25, then I'm cutting it again right down the center. So now that is an A2 piece, and that's going to fit perfectly over my card base. All right. The next layer that I want to have is going to be this beautiful pink. And I really want it to be gently framed by that black. So I don't necessarily want 1/8 of an inch like this. Okay, so what I start thinking about is how is this card going to come together? And I start thinking about all the layers that I'm going to have. I'm going to have that black layer, then I'm going to have my pink snowy layer. And then I want to show some of that pink, and I'm going to have another black layer because I want that to be kind of the mat or frame around my poinsettia. So if these are going to be larger frames, that black around the pattern paper, then I'm going to end up with my poinsettia being a lot smaller than I want it to be. And I don't want to see a whole lot of that black. So I don't want to have 1/8 of an inch, which is what I often will have as 1/8 of an inch. So I decided to cut that in half and only do a 1/16 of an inch around the edge. And I think it frames it beautifully, and it's really going to mat it and set it apart from the other colors that we're going to have in here. Jean is asking, is the expo online? Yes, it is. Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. I need to put a link out there for everybody. You know what? I'll do that after we're done here. I'll put a link out. I need to put the announcement on our Facebook group and on our Facebook page. So I'll get that out there this evening so everybody has that. Actually, if you go to, I don't want you to go there right now, but we do have it up on our Instagram page. I think I just, oh, actually, that means it is on our Facebook page already then. If I put it on the Instagram page, that means it's on our Facebook page. I'm certain already, but I will get them out there again after tonight. So let me get back to this. So the next layer I'm going to cut is the pink. So the black was cut at 4.25 and 5.5. So I'm going to reduce that just a little bit. So instead of cutting at 5.5, which is right here, I'm going to reduce that by 1/8. So this line right here is my 5.5. I'm going to come in 1/8 of an inch and cut that. I'm going to turn my paper 90 degrees, and then instead of cutting at 4.25, which is where I was with the first sheet, the black, I'm going to reduce that by 1/8 right here, and I'm going to trim that down. So now when I layer these up, provided I did this right, I have a tiny little edge or frame around it. And in making that border smaller or more narrow, I'm not going to be causing everything else in the center as I layer things to be smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's what I wanted to really explain there. So then my next layer is going to be black again. And where I ended up going with that was I decided I wanted to have a little more of a border then. So let me pull this out. Because I wanted my pink to show a little bit more. Okay. So this is where we are. Let me move this one out of the way. So this is, oh no, that makes it hard to see. Let me see something here. Alan, can you grab me a scrap piece of white paper over there? Over there. Right in front of you, right there.
Yes.
Yeah, just grab me a scrap piece of white paper, please. It's hard when I'm using black cardstock on the dark background. You can't necessarily see the borders that I'm seeing. So right now I have this layered up, so I have that 1/16 of an inch. So I want to have a bigger border for the pink. So see how I can see more of that pink? So I end up trimming that down even farther, and then I come in again really small, and this is where we're going to end up. And you see how that frames it really, really nicely? So in order to do that though, lift these up, we need to make adjustments in our cutting. I didn't write these down, so you're going to have to bear with me here. So I'm right now, this is my full A2 sheet. If I started at 5.5, and then I trimmed the first black piece down 1/8 of an inch. If I trim this down now another 1/4 of an inch, okay, so I slid it down another 1/4 of an inch, and this is how I actually do it. I slide it down. So I slide 1/8 of an inch, and then I move it 1/4 of an inch. All right, so in total it's 3/8 of an inch off. I'm going to trim that. Let's see if that gets me where I want to be. I don't think that's quite enough. See how I only see a little bit of that pink? Bring this border over here. See how I only see a little bit of that pink on the top and the bottom? That's not enough for me. So this is my process. This is what I go through. I'm going to take that down another 1/4 of an inch. Let me see if that's where I took it. It should be when I lay this here. We're going to be right where I was. So another 1/4 of an inch. And this is my process when I'm planning, because this one didn't have set measurements for me. So now when I lay this on here, you can see the top and the bottom, I have more of a gap. That's what I'm looking for. So I did 1/4 of an inch, then 1/4 of an inch, so that's 1/2 of an inch, right? So now I'm going to turn it and go in the other direction because I want to cut it from both sides. So let me see where I am. So I start at that initial 4 1/4. This is for my width now. I'm going to bring it in 1/8 of an inch so that I'm even with where that pink is now, where I cut the pink. And now I'm going to go 1/2 of an inch over, which is, or 1/4 of an inch twice, which is what I had done with the other side. So I go 1/4 of an inch, and then I do another 1/4 of an inch. And this should put me, if I measure that, or did I do it wrong? Let me see. Let me see if I did this right. Oh, I'm off by just a little bit. I don't think I was supposed to come in that initial, it's still going to be fine. I think I'm doing a little bit smaller than I did initially. So 1/8 of an inch, then my 1/4, then my 1/4. And then this one's going to nest. And to be honest with you, I don't even care if it's the exact same as I did it the first time, as long as I still have a really pretty border around it. There's no science about this. Okay, so now we have this beautiful border. Isn't that pretty? Let me fix that a little bit. So now I can see that little bit of pink. And then next step is going to be to cut this gorgeous poinsettia paper. So I'm going to measure my poinsettia, my black cardstock here. And right now I am at 4 7/8. So if I'm at 4 7/8, I want to come in just 1/8 of an inch down from that. All right. So that way it's going to fit beautifully and just have that tiny little bit of an edge again. Now I need to go in the other direction. Right now I'm at 3 5/8. So I have 3 5/8 come in 1/8 to 3 1/2, and that is going to fit beautifully again, just like so. Okay, and so now when I layer these up, this is what it's going to look like. So I get a really, really pretty pink frame around that gorgeous poinsettia, and I haven't cut it so much that that poinsettia disappears. All right, that's the process that I go through. So I'm going to start layering this up right now. I'm going to start adding these pieces, putting this card together. And let me get my foam out so I have that ready to go. The first 2 pieces I'm going to lay flat. Because I do have some more layers that are going to be going up, and I don't want this to get too thick. Are you looking for something, Alan?
I am. I just found it. I'm looking to show that.
No, not yet.
Okay.
All right, so I gave it that little bit of a border. And I know sometimes that measuring can seem a little bit like, like a daunting task, but I think the key is that you don't worry about it being perfect. All right, I'm going to show you why I turned my card, because sometimes people don't always know what I'm doing here. I don't know if you can see, I have a little bit of a lip. I didn't score it perfectly in the center. And so when I have the card up here, let me see if I can put this up here and get that to, I don't know if you can see that or not. The bottom part of my card is a little bit longer than the top, and I don't want the card upright in this direction, so I flip it over so that the top piece is a little bit longer. Those little details for some reason catch my eye. I don't think they really matter, but they catch my eye and they drive me nuts. Okay, there we go. So make sure I have my card opening in the direction I want it to open. Next up, we're going to layer the poinsettia to the black cardstock. That is going to go flat. And I'm going to do this on white because I wasn't able to really see the first one very well because my mat is so dark. Okay, so now I have that little bit of a border. And then this piece is going to actually go up on foam. And that's where my dimension is going to start. Now when I do foam, I could do two lengthwise this way, but for some reason I always like to go the shorter edge. Oops. And get a little more foam on there so it's a little more balanced. There we go. Make sure this is opening in the direction I need it to. And see if I can get that centered. I think that's centered. It's hard to tell because I can't put my head over the top of it. Isn't that pretty? I mean, just right there, that's gorgeous. So here's the other pieces that I had started with. I'm going to move those over. So I was initially going to make this card a portrait shaped card, but I decided in going through the papers, and I was going through you know, my stamp sets and trying to find a sentiment that I wanted and so on and so forth, and I thought I came upon this piece of paper here in the same paper pack, and I saw this right here. And let me show you where I went with this, because I thought I want to get just that one out of there to use it as my sentiment. And then it very quickly became the inspiration for my second card. So I love these kinds of papers where we have all these beautiful borders like this. It's really kind of a card already made up for you. So I thought, I'm not just going to trim that one out of there. I'm going to trim them all. So that's really basically what I did. I started going like this, and you have to figure out where you want your colors to stop and where you want them to start. Where you want your borders to stop and start, I should say. And I decided that I wanted mine to stop and start on like this beautiful black edge. And I wanted that pretty pink that's on either side of that sentiment. I wanted that to be part of that strip. And then I just kept cutting because I thought, oh my goodness, what if I use these pieces for another card? Sherry is saying, do you always eyeball it, or do you have a tool to measure the distance? No, I eyeball it. This is what I'm doing. This is literally exactly how I do it. There is, by the way, on this paper trimmer, I can see there's I don't know how to. Let me see if I can. Can you see it? If I go like, can you see that? There is a center piece of metal or something that it's wire that goes along there that I can see that you guys probably can't see. So I can use that. I can line that up straight along the lines of my paper to make sure that I've got it right where I want it to be. So you guys may not be able to see that, but I can. There we go. So this was what I cut. This is what I did. I cut all of these into strips, and I thought I'm going to see what I can do with those. I'm going to set them aside though for now, because what I wanted was, I need a new blade. Everything's cutting like really fuzzy. This was the piece that I wanted, and I thought that is going to be my sentiment. Notice it's from a 6x6 paper pack, and so it's a little bit long, and I had to trim it. So then I just grabbed, I had some cardstock already. I always save my little bits of cardstock. And so I trimmed a piece of my cardstock to be 5.5 inches in length. This one I don't think is. I actually have to trim it. Make sure I have this going in the right direction. So at 5.5 inches, looks like it already is, but cut that tiny little bit off the edge. It has a weird edge on it. It's kind of strange. Like I cut it wrong maybe, I don't know. Or maybe the blade just cut alongside of it because it seemed like it pressed it up. It's kind of weird. I could feel like a ridge on it. It bothers me. So, all right, so this is cut to 5.5 inches across. And then I want this piece to fit into it. And I had to decide, do I want the Happy Holidays? And then this says, 'tis the season to be jolly. Happy Holidays is complete, but I thought if I use my Happy Holidays, then my 'tis the season is going to be cut off. and I didn't want that to be cut off. So then I decided to trim off the end of the Happy Holidays and not really worry about that part being complete. And I also trimmed this so that it is, it was altogether 1/8 of an inch wider than this strip was. So I basically just said, you know, what is the width of this strip? And this strip measured, I think it's like 7/8. So I needed this strip to be 1 inch wide. And then I need to trim this one down. This one is 5.5. I need to trim 1/8 off of that, but I want to trim it off of the side that says Happy Holidays. So here's my 5.5. I'm going to take it down 1/8 of an inch and trim that. And then that should fit. And if it doesn't fit, I'll trim a little bit more. Okay. So here is where we're going to be with this. And it's beautiful. All right. Little fuzzy edges. I need a new blade again. I'm doing that much crafting that I got to keep getting these new blades. I guess that's good, huh? When you're crafting so much. Here we go. I know these measurements can sometimes be confusing, so I hope I'm not making that worse for you. I'm trying to make it easier for you. Yeah, I need to do this on white because I can't see the difference in the color very well. Alrighty. There we go. So now that is framed as well. So this is where we're at now. And so I took that beautiful black border underneath and took that right to the end of the, to the edge of the card. So it's going to extend beyond that beautiful poinsettia paper. And I just think it's so pretty. I think it creates a lot of visual interest there. I could technically leave this right here if I wanted and not bother doing any more with it. But that wouldn't be me. So, so I decided to go ahead and play with this particular stamp set a little bit. This is where the 34th Street came in. And I'm not going to go through this part, but I went ahead and I stamped this, I think it was this one, this house up here. And I just chose some pink to color it in. And I thought it would be so cute if I used the little camper as well. And I'm going to put them on there like this. When you use the dies to cut it, and notice, I mean, I kept it fairly monochromatic, you know, with the house and the truck. And then I just added a little bit of that beautiful kind of teal color in there. I pulled those colors from the paper, but I went a shade darker because I really want these to stand out. I want them to really kind of catch your eye. I didn't want them to just blend in as though they weren't supposed to be there. So I went a shade darker with them. And then you can see when you use, this was the die right here to cut this house, you can see the blades in here. So when you open it, actually if I turn it over, you can see how it cuts into that. So you can open up the doors and you can pop the window open as well. So you can actually put characters back there if you want, depending on what you're doing. The same thing happens with the camper door. And then the door on this really cute little pickup truck also opens up. I'm not using characters on this particular card. So I went ahead and just cut the die also, or used the die to cut out of blue. And then that blue is going to be in the background of each of these so that when you open up the doors, you end up seeing just that pretty kind of blue color. I didn't want you to see the poinsettia paper behind it. I'm going to go ahead and layer. Let's see if I can do this without moving it. Got my other finger stuck on the tape underneath. There we go. So I just layered those together. So now when I open it up, you're going to see just a little bit of color back there instead of the poinsettia paper, which I think is just a little more interesting. If you wanted to put a yellow back there to make it look like, you know, the light in the room was glowing or something, you could do that. A little bit of tape on here, and we're going to do the same thing with the camper. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to put them out there. Alan will get the questions to me. What? Did you forget to look for questions?
No, I just messed up.
What'd you do?
I resized my document.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now we have these little houses, or little house and the truck anyway. So let's go back to the card. So Sharon is saying your HSN characters are tiny. They would fit behind the door. They would, you're right. Yeah, the HSN characters that you're talking about, I think are our pocket pals, and they would be really, really cute in here. You are absolutely right. I'm going to go ahead and put foam on this because I love dimension on my cards. I'm going to be careful just to put the foam in the center because the edges are going to extend over. Let's see roughly where I want to put these. I think that's straight. There we go. And now I need to get some foam on the back of each of these. And then the little camper. Did Liz ever make it? Has anybody seen Liz? There we go. And let me see where I'm going to line these guys up. I shouldn't have taken that off of there yet. Want to get them kind of centered. There we go. And then the next one. I'm just kind of putting them over that edge just a little bit. Just kind of incorporates them together. There we go. And that's all there is to it. I think that's really pretty. It's very, very simple. 'Tis the season to be jolly. You can see it's a running sentiment, like it continues and continues and loops. But I think that's really, really pretty. Kind of like a from our home to yours kind of a holiday card. Really pretty. Okay, so that is card number 1. What, Alan?
One?
That is just one. Okay, so the next card, let me move all my stuffs over. The next card, I decided to use the same paper pack, and I also decided to pull in my Elegant Holiday Wishes sentiment set. And with this one, we're actually going to do a little bit of stamping and a little bit of embossing. And how do I open this? Here we go. I'm not going to take you through all the cutting on this one. I've pretty much already done that with the first one. But I do want to lay out, let me move this over for now. I want to show you how I'm going to lay this out. So here's my card base. I already took you through that. I'm going to go ahead. I have this is an A2 piece of cardstock, just like I did on the other one. I'm just going to go ahead and mount this directly onto the front of my card base. All right, I find my opening. I like to line up the edge. Let's see, can't find my edge. There we go. I think I may have cut that a little. No, I laid it on there crooked. Oh, well. You know, something you can do with that too. I'm not going to bother with it. Something you can do with that if you really wanted to. I'm going to trim it. But you could actually take a black marker right on there and fix that. But I think I did a poor job cutting it initially. So I'm just going to trim that off of there. Nobody's going to know that it's a 32nd of an inch shorter, right? Okay, so this one, I decided to go portrait. I do have to do a little bit of cutting. Here's all of those strips that I cut. Remember I showed you? I'm going to cut each one of these down. I want them to lay, let me get a piece of paper here, because I'm on that dark again, it's hard to see. I want them to lay just on the inside like this, okay, with a little bit of an edge. So in order to do that, I do have to trim the length off of each of these. So this is 4 1/4 wide, and I need to trim 1/8 of an inch off of that. So I'm going to do this with each one. We're going to go 4 1/4, right, and then I'm trimming 1/8 of an inch off. That's not the side I want. I want this side. Why did I flip that? I don't even know why I did that. So 4 1/4, 1/8 of an inch off. I almost did that wrong. That was going to be bad. So this should fit nicely framed, and it does beautifully. So I have a little bit of black on either side. All right. So instead of 4 1/4, I'm trimming it to 4 1/8 for every single one of these pieces, even the little one here.
Your little darlings are getting restless here. They're
What are they doing?
telling you to make me do a card.
Oh, you guys want Alan to do a card?
That's just mean.
I think that's a great idea.
I have to name them little monsters instead of darlings.
I don't think they can hear you, by the way. So if you want them to hear you, you got to speak up a little bit. I think it's a great idea to have Alan do a card. I love that. Okay, so here's all my pieces. So this is where I'm headed with it. All right. I have to piece these things together, but I want to have a little bit of black between everything. I have to see how I want this to go. I have this yellow here that has to work. And then pink. And then yellow again. And then this one up here. And it works, it fits, because I have that one piece that I cut off of there that I didn't use, that little sentiment, right? So these are going to fit right in here. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to set all of these up on foam though, because that's just the way we roll. I like to mention on my cards. Have I mentioned that? I don't know if I've mentioned that enough. So I'm going to leave everything in place because I want to make sure I get the spacing right on this. Here's one. This one's going to be tricky because it's so skinny. I'm going to trim this just a tiny little bit. Let's see if I made that. Ooh, not quite long enough. So I just want a tiny, tiny little piece. And I have some other little scrap pieces here. I just want a little square. I want to make sure that it's all supported everywhere. Oops. Sometimes the pieces are too small. There we go. Let me make sure. I think that one's too wide, so I'm going to trim that. I can see it on the other side, the foam, so that will drive me bonkers. All right, so this next piece, I'm going to leave a little bit of black in between. Sorry if my head's getting in the way, I'm trying not to. There we go, that works. The next one. Too long. I need another piece, and I just happen to have that one that I had already cut. Isn't that perfect? That's why I saved them all. I save all those pieces on the edges here. Never throw out foam. I don't care how small the little piece is. You're gonna find a use for it at some point. Perfect, just like that. And then the next one. Now, here's the little thing. That one, that yellow has a black edge there. I'm actually going to be butting these two up against each other, but you're not going to really know because it already has black trim next to the yellow. This one's too long, so trim it off. And then we'll cut this one in half. Put some of it over here. And then it would help if I did it straight. And then some of it over here. And trim off the edge a little bit. Alrighty. Very important to make sure the houses are going in the right direction. Don't want that upside down. There we go. So that is the front of my card now. Look at the dimension on that. Isn't that cute? It even just feels nice in your hand. I like that. It's like padded. It's just so lush. I love it. I'll tell you, these papers are just beautiful. They just feel so good. I have this fascination with paper. Does anybody else have that going on? I don't know. Okay, so next up, I'm going to set that aside. We're going to actually stamp a sentiment, and we're going to emboss. And we're going to stamp in black, emboss in clear. Let me move my computer and stuff a little bit. Here we go. And I'm stamping on my Nina. My little sheets under here. Make sure those are where they need to be. I put these underneath here because the Misties never seem deep enough to me. And so I just bump it up a little bit with a couple of little shims of cardstock in there. So this is my Elegant Holiday Wishes, and I really wanted to use this big sentiment here again. Be careful when you're pulling your stamps off there, by the way, because you don't want to stretch them. I mean, you can stretch them, especially the thin ones. Those can be stretched, and you don't want to do that. Let's see, how am I going to want to put this on here? Actually, I'm not stamping in black. I don't know why I said I'm stamping in black. I'm not. I'm actually stamping in Tropical Sea. And then I'm going to emboss. Clear emboss. All right, so I have this ready to go. I'm going to get my clear embossing powder ready to go. Where is my, here it is. Here's my little heat gun. I'm going to heat this up for a moment. There we go. So that's ready to go. Oh, Judy is saying, have you ever thought of doing an LDRS retreat weekend? We actually have thought about doing that. We talked about doing it several times, and it just didn't come together. And now, unfortunately, I don't think circumstances are going to allow it for just a little while. I think we'll get there at some point. But no, we've talked about it. It just hasn't actually come together. So, you know what? If there's a bunch of you that would like to do that, that's something we can certainly look at planning when circumstances allow. I think that would be a lot of fun. We had talked about doing it in Florida.
At Disney or somewhere else?
Yeah, Disney or near Disney. Okay, so I'm going to give this a second one here. And then I'm going to get my embossing powder on it kind of quickly. Gorgeous. Put the lid on here and move this out of the way because that is just a disaster waiting to happen. Okay, I'd like to let this heat up for a moment. There we go. Gorgeous. I think I got it all everywhere. Look how pretty. I'm actually going to hit the back of that too. Got a little bit of warping, so I'm going to hit the back of it. Hit this end up here where I didn't get it. And that takes care of a lot of the warping. There we go. I mean, it's not going to be perfectly flat because we've heated the paper, but you can reduce that warping just by applying heat to the back side and then to the other areas of the paper where you did not heat it initially. Okay, so let's put this away. Because we have to put our stamps away and keep things tidy as much as I can. All right. So again, that's Tropical Sea, which I think is just beautiful with this paper. And then next up is to trim this down. How pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to trim a little bit off the end here. And again, I am eyeballing it. But I'm paying attention to like where the green is at the end there. So I've got maybe 1/8 of an inch between the edge of that little, the cross on the T. That's the leftmost, and then the rightmost is going to be the Y here. So I'm going to line up, so I'm about 1/8 of an inch to the side of that. Yes, I am eyeballing it. I'm going to trim a tiny little bit off the end, just so I don't have so much white at the bottom. And then, let's see, where are we going to be? Can't tell if this is straight. Yeah, I think it's straight. All right. All right. So it's kind of centered a little bit. Maybe a little too long at the bottom. I'm going to trim a hair off the bottom. Alan always cracks up when I don't measure. I don't measure to put pictures up on the wall. I don't measure to do any of that stuff because I can see if things are straight or not, and he thinks I'm insane. But I get it right, don't I?
Yes.
He's like, we have to use a level. We have to use a level. And I'm like, no, we don't. Just put it up there and let me see. And then he like finally caves in. He'll put it up there exactly where I tell him to. And then he'll take the level and he'll measure and he'll be like, son of a gun, you got it. Cracks me up. That's how my eyes work. All right, so this is where we're going to be. Let me see what kind of a frame I want on this. I want it to be a little bit heavier. Let me put this on the white so it makes it easier for you guys to see. Now, I could go with that teeny tiny little frame, but I think it's just going to disappear. You're not really going to see it that well. So I'm going to do a little bit of a bigger frame. I'm going to do an 1/8 of an inch frame on this, and I'm going to put that in the center. Maybe a little off center, but so I'm going to do an 1/8 of an inch frame, which is going to put me roughly, I swear you guys are going to crack up when you see how I do this. This is literally what I do. I don't measure stuff. I don't care if it's perfect. It's crafting. My opinion is get over it. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. There's one. And if it's not exactly an 1/8 of an inch, I don't care. I'll make the adjustment and move things over a little bit. You know, if I were going to mass produce these, then I would be a little more concerned. Something's not straight on this. I can see it. One of my lines is not straight. That's really driving me bonkers. I must not have had it straight in here. Let me see which one it is. That looks straight. That one is not straight. This is where I need black underneath it so I can see. Sorry, I'm trimming this excess off of here that I can see that I don't like. I definitely need a new blade. Can you see that? All right, bear with me. Wasn't a clean cut. But I can push it back. There we go. Okay. And now I need an edge on this one. All right. I'm going to do some layering up a bit. First, I'm going to go flat onto the cardstock. Ooh, that was a big bang. Sorry about that. There we go. And then we're going to do foam. Where's the top? There we go. Now let's see how this is going to look. I could go in the center, but I'm going to go up just a little bit. I think it's pretty. Not worried about covering up some of the houses or more of the houses than, you know, than maybe you would expect, but I just wanted a little bit north of center. I think is pretty. There we go. Very simple. Clean, simple, easy, except for the little mistakes I made. But I like it. So anyway, my goal today was to show you how you can make some really pretty kind of clean and simple cards and really feature your pattern papers. You know, because I mean, you know, I spend a lot of time making these beautiful scenic cards and pushing the pattern papers into the background. And I really wanted to feature the pattern papers, especially from this MacKenzie paper pack, because they really are absolutely luscious. I mean, look at those. You can't go wrong with these. Look at the baubles in that one. They're just stunning. This one, all you need, if you trim this right, this one right here, you trim that right, just put a little sentiment right here, emboss it, you are good to go. Be perfect. Kathy is saying, how long does the foam tape roll last you? Well, I craft a lot. And I started my last foam tape roll. Let me see. You can see where we are already, and I craft a lot. I started my last foam tape roll just before, like, early in March. Then the pandemic hit. March 15th was when we went on lockdown here. And I just ended that tape roll. How long ago was that? A couple weeks ago?
3 weeks maybe?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. So it lasted me all summer long and into fall. So I took it from spring to fall, and it's 30, what is it, 38 yards, I think, in this whole tape roll. You know, and you have to keep in mind too, I don't use my tape rolls only for, you know, these Tuesday, Thursday lives. I use my tape roll for all kinds of other things, other crafting that I do for other events and things like that. So, you know, when you guys see me go through a tape roll, it's not just because I was using it here for these lives. I'm using it for a lot of other things as well. So they last a really long time. I love them. I mean, when I buy them, we'll stock like 10 or 15 at a time because we go through them pretty well. Okay, so anyway, these are my cards tonight. I'm going to switch the camera back. Let's see. Hey there. What? Were you watching it scoot up?
I was laughing at something somebody said.
Oh, okay.
And he said we can call it a lockdown size roll of tape.
A lockdown sized roll of tape. I like that. It's awesome. All righty. So, oops, I just almost hurt something. I just now almost ripped the door off the truck. That would have been classic.
That would have been the second time.
Yep. So these are the second time. So these are my cards for tonight. I think they're so pretty. I hope you guys like them. I love that they feature the MacKenzie paper pack. I think that's a lot of fun. I think they're just gorgeous. Anyway, I think they're really pretty. Hope you guys enjoyed them. And I hope you guys maybe got inspired to pull out those paper packs and play with those a little bit too. And you know, you don't always have to have characters and stuff on your cards. I mean, granted, I love scene building. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But man, I am infatuated with my papers too. I think I was in love with papers before I was in love with the little critter stamps and stuff. So so play with those papers, get them out and see what you can do with them. Especially ours, the way that we design them. You know, we've got 12 different patterns in there, and everything goes together. We've done all the work for you. We've even incorporated some little scenes into many of the paper packs. But you really can't go wrong with the way that we've designed them. You can literally pull any of those papers together and have absolutely gorgeous combinations. So it's really easy and fun. Anyway, we are over time, so we need to pick a winner. We need to figure out what. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give away the MacKenzie Christmas paper pack. That is going to be the giveaway tonight.
Okay.
So you're going to be able to create your own MacKenzie Christmas cards. Yay! So Alan, we need a winner. Who's going to get this? Let me put this one down before I drop it.
Nobody wants it.
Oh, nobody wants it?
Nobody said anything about it.
Nobody said anything? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What are we going to do about that? Are we done then?
I think so.
No? All right. Well, thank you. Oh, no, there is a name. I thought we were done. I thought you were serious.
No.
Christy Palas, P-A-H-L-A-S. Christy, you are the winner of the MacKenzie paper pack. Congratulations. Yay. Christy, we need you to send us an email at customerservice@ldrscreative.com. I need your name, I need your mailing address, and we will get your MacKenzie Christmas paper pack out to you right away so that you can make your very own MacKenzie Christmas cards. Yay! Ah. Alrighty. Thank you, everybody. This was so much fun. Don't forget a couple of things. If you have not subscribed to us on YouTube, if you have not joined our Facebook group, please do so. That way, you know, and as well as our newsletter. That way, you're going to get all the information that we put out. You'll be notified when we go live. You'll be notified when we put other videos out, and just of news in general that we have going on. We would love for you to take a look at us on Instagram as well and follow us there. Let's see, what else do we have going on? Saturday Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. So pay attention to the Facebook page and to the Facebook group. You can even check it out on Instagram. I'm going to get all that information out there so that you'll have the links to join us at 12:30. It's 12:30 Eastern on Saturday, Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. And we are going to have a really, really great show special there. So I hope we will see you guys there. And anyway, we will also be back here next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, everybody.